So we've all heard the news. Jordan Peterson was suspended from Twitter June 29th, 2022. And this wonderful relationship that has nothing to do with how attractive nobody cares about. So read it! Just how small you are. But what we should be, what the American goal is. I don't want to capitalize off the situation, but I do have some fresh perspectives to give, both as a Christian and as a female with gender dysphoria. So first of all, here's the tweet he was suspended for. I'm not going to repeat it because it makes me uncomfortable. As I did my video about YouTubers getting suspended for talking about transgender issues negatively, I want to go through the community guidelines, this time for Twitter. Twitter's purpose is to serve the public conversation. Violence, harassment, and other similar types of behavior discourage people from expressing themselves and ultimately diminish the value of global public conversation. Violence. You may not threaten violence against an individual or a group of people. We also prohibit the glorification of violence. Terrorism/violent extremism, child sexual exploitation, abuse or harassment, hateful conduct. You may not promote violence against, threaten, or harass, blah, blah, blah. Jordan Peterson did not incite violence in any way. Perpetrators of violent attacks, suicide or self-harm, sensitive media, including graphic violence and adult content, illegal or certain regulated goods or services, private information. It just tickles me how so many people freaked out when Elon Musk bought Twitter because they were afraid that this kind of thing would happen and then Elon Musk would prevent him from being banned. But Jordan Peterson was banned without Elon Musk's permission. Elon Musk spoke out against it and was like,
"Oh, I think Twitter has gone too far."
He had no control over it. Elon Musk can do nothing. You can calm down about him. Because Jordan Peterson was not spreading violence, I don't think he should have been taken off Twitter. Thank you for coming to my video. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Just kidding, I have a bit more to say. I guess he was making a complaint about Pride Month. I don't support Pride Month either, or the celebration of Pride. It is a sin. He is right. But, like, what was the point of the tweet? I'm going to assume that Elliot Page got a double mastectomy because Page is uncomfortable about that part. So I had actually a bigger issue with that part of the statement than the dead naming part because, like, you know, putting myself in Page's shoes, if I were to read that comment about me, that would make me uncomfortable. But that's all he did. He offended Elliot Page. When you're on social media, you can block people who say offensive things about you.
Twitter is stupid.
It's just social media for people to try to sound smart by saying the dumbest things that come to their heads. As far as Jordan Peterson's intent behind the tweet, I think it was purely just to offend and insult. Like, calling plastic surgeons criminals. I think it's a stretch to call all cosmetic surgeons criminal, especially since Elliot Page is an adult and entirely within Page's right to do that. I don't think he should have been taken down for it, but, like, it was not a cool tweet. It was not nice. It was messed up. Jordan Peterson isn't a Christian, but for Christians, Romans 12:18 says, "If possible, as much as it is among you, live peaceably with all men." Going out of your way to offend people is not something Christians should be doing. Romans 13 says, "For the one in authority is God's servant for your good, but if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on the wrongdoer. Therefore, it is necessary to submit to the authorities, not only because of possible punishment, but also as a matter of conscience." We're not going against God's law by not calling transgender celebrities by their birth name and making comments about their bodies. A message to my fellow Christians.
Don't be like Jordan Peterson.
Also, since we're talking about Jordan Peterson, I might as well bring something to light. Maps of Meaning is a book that Jordan Peterson wrote in 1999. According to Wikipedia, the book describes a theory for how people construct meaning in a way that is compatible with the modern scientific understanding of how the brain functions. In one of his chapters, he talks about a dream he had, which includes a sexual encounter with his grandmother. Now, I was alerted this by a friend, so this is not my own discovery. Alright, chums, I figured it was unfair for me to drop this bombshell on you without giving you some context. And I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, it is in fact way worse with context. Chapter 2 introduces this idea of a certain way of thinking about time and space. Number 1, there's the eternal unknown, which is like the end-all, be-all, the we will never reach it, but everything leads to this. It is feminine. It is the great mother. Number 2, the eternal known, which is culture, the defined territory. This is masculine for some reason. Then there is the eternal knower, that is you, the protagonist in the story of time and space. So this particular paragraph in which the dream is featured describes the eternal unknown, the Great Mother.
If you will.
The Great Mother, in her negative guise, is the force that induces the child to cry in the absence of her parents. She is the molester of children, the golem, the bogeyman, the monster in the swamp, the rotting, cadaverous zombie who threatens the living. She is progenitor of the devil, the strange son of chaos. She is the serpent, and Eve the temptress. She is the femme fatale, the insect in the ointment, the hidden cancer, the chronic sickness, the plague of locusts, the cause of drought, the poisoned water. She uses erotic pleasure as bait to keep the world alive and breeding. She is a gothic monster who feeds on the blood of the living. She is the water that washes menacingly over the ridge of the crumbling dam, the shark in the depths, the wide-eyed creature of the deep forests, the cry of the unknown animal, the claws of the grizzly, and the smile of the criminally insane. The great and terrible mother stars in every horror movie, every black comedy. She lies in wait for the purposefully ignorant like a crocodile waits in the bog. She is the mystery of life that can never be mastered. She grows ever more menacing with every retreat. This is basically just every disturbing and negative thing that a grown man can possibly think of. He then compares this to his grandmother. Jordan Peterson never specifies whether this is a dream he had or whether this is like a scenario. Regardless, when he describes this feminine essence of darkness and the unknown, and then compares that to his grandmother, makes it even creepier. It really does give connotation to the idea that his grandmother is a molester, or that he has molesting fantasies directed to his grandmother. People have a tendency to get very starry-eyed about public figures who want to speak out for the truth. His passion for freedom of speech is admirable.
But
We have to remember all of the things he says and how this all sheds light on the kind of person he is. If any